Let's see. See how it works. Okay, cool. What's up? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Let me just get the chat going. Give me 1 second if you can. I'm sorry. I'm like multitasking right now. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. I know that Storm is possibly, but I don't know about FamK if I'm being honest with you. I don't know what that. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm getting some stuff real quick. Oh, really? That makes sense. Bangladesh, huge fan, but it's 350. It's all good, man. I appreciate you. I'm glad you can come by and say hi. You know, just is what it is. I understand we all have different time zones, and we're all doing our thing. We're all tired. I get it. I get it. No worries. Let's see. Let's see. Studio. Okay. What's up? Yep. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So we're gonna be talking about what is the plus? Start a poll. Yes and no. Yes. No. Let's do that. Okay. Now let's talk. Let me pull up this stuff real quick. Let's go into this live stream. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, give me 1 second. I got so many messages, so I'm kind of trying to like go back and forth on this. I don't know how I have so many comments. Why is there so many comments? Okay. Okay. So let me pull it up. I just got. Dude, there's so much going on. What's up, Tazel? How you doing? Okay, so we're gonna talk about this right now. So these are details I have regarding Avengers Doomsday, and apparently this is some plot details for it. So we're going to go into this, and it is what it is. You know, once again, as I always say, take this with a grain of salt, because certain things are going to be important and certain things are going to be random, but we don't know what's real and what's not real. So the plot revolves around an impending incursion between the Avengers universe and the X-Men universe, which would destroy both unless one is destroyed first, which we kind of know already. That's kind of time runs out things from the comic books. Doctor Doom arrives on the Avengers universe claiming to be a hero whose universe was destroyed, offing his wife and son, and they trust him because he's a variant of Tony Stark. Doom manipulates the heroes, leading into a big three-way battle between the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four until they realize Doom is behind everything and team up against him. Doom executes his master plan, gains godlike power and reshapes the multiverse into a single timeline called Battleworld, where he is the god emperor of the universe. A group of heroes manages to escape, leading into Avengers Secret Wars, where they must restore their friends' memories, and rise against and defeat Doom to fix the timelines. Essentially, the plot for this whole thing is that... Well, what am I at right now? Let me see something. Sorry, give me 1 second. So apparently what they're saying is Doctor Doom is obviously blaming Steve Rogers for causing the incursions by creating a branch timeline to start a family with Peggy Carter, and wants revenge against him. I feel like that's kind of like the main plot. Steve Rogers is going to be pushed throughout the film, but in the sidelines of what he was doing in the past. Steve calls himself Nomad and wields Mjolnir. So he never put back Mjolnir. Obviously, he's causing a lot of the problems, but I mean, that's something I feel like we should have already known. Sam Wilson continues as Captain America, and Thor wields Stormbreaker. I feel like that makes sense because you don't want one to have Stormbreaker and you don't want one to have, Mjolnir. Doom arrives on the Avengers universe with the Fantastic Four, who initially believe his story and encounter the Thunderbolts, leading to a fight before Sam's Avengers intervene. Doom recruits Sam, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Bob Sentry, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, and Captain Marvel for a mission to the X-Men universe. Do you think... I don't know, honestly, Thomas. I haven't watched that show. I'm not really interested in that, if I'm being real with you. Johnny Storm, Thing, Falcon, U.S. Agent, Red Guardian, and Ghost are left behind to protect the universe. We've seen them in the ship. That was one of the behind-the-scenes thing. Monica Rambeau has been trapped in the X-Men universe, which is one of the causes of the incursion. Obviously, it's being pulled, and we know that's going to happen. The X-Men mansion have disbanded, and Jean Grey is dead. They initially worked together with the Avengers, but Doom pits them against each other, leading to the three-way battle. The battle is mostly the Avengers versus the X-Men versus the Fantastic Four, trying to get everyone to stop fighting, while Doom commands an army of Sentinels to attack everyone. That's where the scene of Cyclops taking his visor from the latest trailer comes from. Some of the fights include Sam Wilson versus Cyclops, Nightcrawler versus Reed Richards, Shang-Chi versus Gambit, Yelena versus Mystique, Captain Marvel versus Monica, Professor Xavier versus Sentry, and Magneto versus Doctor Doom. Some prominent character pairings are Sam and Yelena, Sam and Bucky, Bob and Yelena, Sam and Cyclops, Reed and Beast, Thing and Red Guardian, and Shang-Chi and Ant-Man. Doom steals Shang-Chi's magic rings, and he has to deal with being a normie martial artist among gods. That's pretty cool. Doom threatens Yelena to get Bob to use his powers and turns the Void into his enforcer to fight the other heroes. Nick Fury, Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man all make appearances, though their exact roles are unclear. Doom's master plan involves using Reed and Sue's son, Franklin Richards, to gain access to the TVA and steal Loki's powers. Doom was married to Sue in his universe, and Franklin reminds him of his dead son, which is something Alex Perez has actually mentioned. Also, rather than a hero, Doom was a tyrant who ruled his world with an iron fist. Doom steals Loki's power and creates Battleworld. Some heroes survive on a dimensional raft, and the movie ends with them crash landing into Battleworld, discovering Doom has won. And then it goes on to say, you remember the scene that we saw with the X Mansion and the lights were going. We saw like the lights appearing inside the building, and then it shows like Xavier's for school. Apparently, that's the Fantastic Four ship arriving into that scene. And it says they then get into a fight with Nightcrawler in that scene. Then Professor X gets approached by the Fantastic Four, New Avengers, and the Avengers and Doom. They come to peace, but then Professor X gets offed by the Sentinels. So that's pretty wild, honestly. Sorry, 1 second. Trying to. That's crazy. That's crazy. The scene that Mac posted about where we see Yelena, Charles, and Gambit will be at the time before they are pit against each other. I hope we get to see Iceman and Rogue. Professor X dying does make sense. Avengers Doomsday is Patrick's. Yeah, that's very true. So Charles would be the character to die that makes Cyclops as a set. Well, also apparently Magneto's going to get off. We don't know what point it is, but Magneto's actually going to fight Doctor Doom. And as for the whole the Charles Gambit and Yelena scene, when they're fighting, I don't know why, but apparently it says that it's the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So that's a different part. So yeah, I'm assuming the whole Yelena being there is before the Fantastic Four gets there. I don't see anything on Doctor Strange on this one. Let me see. Then the X-Men go crazy into a huge fight. Avengers versus X-Men. The X-Men think the others were the ones that activated the Sentinels. Doom then appears along with Sentry. Oh! Bro. This is wild. Let me see. Dude, if this is true, this is freaking wild. Let me see. Post. And then, let's see. Anything on Doctor? No, sorry. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds crazy. James Mack dropped the whole plot and everything he knew onto Instagram. Which one was his plot leak? Because I like James. Don't get me wrong. We're homies. But I've caught a couple things wrong, so I would like to know. Yeah, they showed a Clea look, but it was obviously altered a tiny bit. So that I'm assuming is what was real. But once again, we don't know for sure. That's crazy. I gotta go do a video on this. I'm gonna do a video on this, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later because I need to talk about this.